Peace. What's the word? What's happening, everybody? I'm back for part three, round three in this thing, man. We doing three a day. It's really technically two a day, man. My first stream that got cut off on me because I was talking about a particular subject matter. So it's technically the second stream for the day. So hopefully y'all got about an hour to chop it up with the kid. Y'all see the subject matter that we are coming with for this particular stream, man. It's gonna be real powerful, man. I got an article. Then I got a powerful book that I want to quote from today. So again, give y'all a chance to tap in with the kid before we start diving into this subject matter, man, because we about to get real deep. Probably gonna ruffle some feathers, probably offend some folks, but it is what it is. We don't care anything about that. The truth is neutral. Truth don't care anything about your feelings and emotions, man. We about to build on something that we need to build on. Your son, peace. What's happening, man? What's the word? So we definitely about to do some building. We got to talk about the black church. Got to talk about the black church. Evan, peace. What's happening with you, my brother, man? Everything is good, man. I'm all good. Appreciate you for asking. Lonzo, peace. What's happening with you? Y'all see the title, man. Y'all see the topic. We about to tackle the topic of the black church, and y'all see it. How much money they have collected since 1980. Y'all see the title, man. Y'all see the title. I'm gonna show y'all an article, and I'm gonna quote from one of my favorite books. One of my favorite books of all time, about 700 plus pages deep, but it's one of the best books that I feel like has ever been written for black people in regards to just economics. Javon, peace, what's happening? So one of the best books, man, and when we get about 3-4 minutes in, then I'm gonna bring up that book. But y'all already know this book. I bring this book up almost every time I talk about books and this particular author. You know what I'm saying? One of the most powerful minds we've ever had, and he goes under the radar, doesn't get enough credit. By the name of Amos N. Wilson. Doesn't get enough credit for his work. I'm talking about some of the best work I've ever written by any mind. You know what I'm saying? But that brother does not get enough credit. RIP to the brother Amos N. Wilson, but he does not get enough credit for the work that he put out. Brilliant work. Brilliant work. Brilliant work. And we're gonna tackle something that was discussed in this book, whole chapter dedicated to this particular subject matter in this book. And y'all about to see how crazy the game is out here. Y'all about to see how crazy the whole religious game is out here, and why some of us go so hard in talking about religion, man. Like, it's crazy out here. It's just crazy when we start bringing up these numbers. And it's like when you ask yourself, what do we have to show for it? What do black people collectively have to show for it? But I'm gonna give y'all a chance to tap in, man. Like I said, this is something that ruffles feathers. You can't, you know what I'm saying? With black people, when we start talking about religion, man, people get in their feelings. When you start talking about the church, people get in their feelings. Black people, that is, you know what I'm saying? They can't handle these type of conversations. We like to run from the serious conversations, especially when it's something like the church. We don't want to have these conversations. But these are conversations that must be had if we are to move forward. You know what I'm saying? How we gonna dedicate all this time, energy, and effort to these churches and give them all our money, and it's like our condition ain't changing. So man, we gotta have this. We gotta have this discussion. Ray, peace. What's happening? Your son, yeah, it is like, you know what I'm saying. Whether these prophets existed or not, they never they what we would call as poor righteous teachers. You know what I'm saying? They went out into the community. They dealt with the masses. And they was teaching what we would say freedom, justice, and equality to that group of people. They wasn't out for monetary gain. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we have turned everything into. That's what we have turned everything into, especially the church. That is one of your more wicked organizations, one of your more corrupt organizations, the church, that is, especially when you get, listen, when you get to the leadership of the church, a lot of corruption is going on. A lot of wickedness is going on. A lot of nonsense, a lot of deception, a lot of manipulation is going on. You know what I'm saying? So when you get to the head, when you get to the top of these churches, man, they are definitely manipulating the congregation. Manipulating the congregation. And it's terrible, man. It is terrible, the type of stuff that is going on. Better future for sure. Wasn't talked about at all. CC, peace, what's happening? Wasn't talked about at all. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to black households and black figures, for the most part, it was like the same people that was talked about. You know what I mean? Like, of course, Martin Luther King was talked about. You may have, Malcolm X may have been mentioned, but he wasn't talked about and discussed thoroughly. You had, of course, like Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, like all of these people were mentioned. But we, like, listen, we done had some brilliant minds that were not touched in regards to a conversation, at least during my upbringing. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking to the average black person, like the names that I mentioned, plus some other names, were like the only names that were in continuous rotation. Like an Amos Wilson or George Jackson or even Marcus Garvey, for that matter. You had to learn about that after the fact. You had to learn about that on your own. And those are some basic names. Like, if you're gonna get deeper than that, like, you really had to do some research. Clocks in, peace, my brother. Your son for sure. Yeah, you can't be broke in a church. They need the money. They need your funds. They need your revenue. They need your revenue because they got to continue to build these mega churches. They got to continue to build these mega churches, even though all of the religious texts will tell you that the temple is within. But they need these mega churches, though. They need these mega churches. They got to drive these Mercedes. They got to do all this, that, and the third. Now, again, you do have some churches. You do have some. This ain't all churches. You do have some churches that they do well in the community. But when you get to these bigger churches, when you get to these bigger names, then that's when you see the corruption. And even some of these smaller churches, you see some corruption going on. But there's no reason or no way that this much money should have been allocated amongst black people and we haven't changed our condition collectively, like economically. No reason. BJ Elmo, Montel, peace, welcome back. Sweet Tea, what's happening? All that money, look at the community. For sure. 400, listen, black churches have collected more than $450 billion in tithes since 1980. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Black churches have collected more than $450 billion in tithes since 1980. Not since 1970, 1960, since 1980. We have collected more than $450 billion in tithes since 1980, the black church. And this is just tithes. Like, this is just the collection plate, paying your dues to the church. $450 billion. What do we collectively have to show for that? What do these people that attend these churches collectively have to show for that other than mega churches? Man, we should be owning half of the communities that these churches are in with all that type of money. What do the congregation have to show for it? For over $450 billion. $450 billion since 1980. Just in tithes. Just in tithes. Just in tithes. That's ridiculous. And I'm going to quote, let me quote some from, again, Amos Wilson, Blueprint to Black Power. Please get this book. This book belongs in every black household. One of the best books ever written. I mean, literally, is the blueprint to economic freedom for black people. I mean, the man literally gave us the blueprint. Yeah, the book is thick, as y'all see. It's like 700 plus pages, 800 plus actually. But he gave us the blueprint. The economic blueprint for black power is right in this book. If all of us read this book and then we implement what is in this book, I guarantee you we will see some changes. But let me read y'all something. This book was written, I believe, around the 1980s. So this, just listen to this. I'm gonna just give you one figure out of this book, just so we can put things in perspective. First of all, I'm gonna give you two things. In this book, he says 90% of all black giving is channeled through the church. 90% of all black giving is channeled through the church. So 90% of what black people give is channeled through the church. Okay, this is 1980. That number might be higher. Never know. But right here, the Black Baptist Church, which is, this is the church I was brought up in, the Baptist Church. The Black Baptist Church collects in excess of $14 million per week. I'm gonna read that again. Like I said, this was written, this is about 1980, roughly. The Black Baptist Church collects in excess of $14 million per week. This figure suggests that the Black Baptists alone collect and raise well over $1 billion per year. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? I'm going to read that just one more time. The Black Baptist Church collects in excess of $14 million per week. This figure suggests that the Black Baptists alone collect and raise well over $1 billion per year. It's just the Baptists. This is the Baptist Church. We got black. Listen, we ain't even touched on the Christians. There's a lot of black people consider themselves Christian. This is just the Baptist Church. And they really are the same freaking thing. To show you how much of a scam this all is. So you got black people that consider themselves Baptist, and you got black people that consider themselves Christian, and they don't even really know the difference. But this is just the Baptist Church. 1 billion per year just from the Black Baptists. We ain't talked about the Christians. We ain't talked about the Catholics. We ain't talked about them. Just the Baptists. $14 million. Do you know what black people could do with that economically? 14 million per week. Do you know how that can change the game for us in the wilderness of North America? This is why I say we not impoverished. We not broke. We just do the wrong things with our money. We giving $14 million per week, and this is in like 1980. So 14 million back then, man, that's almost like 100 million today. This was back then. So this was 14 million per week back in the day, 20, 30 years ago. So just imagine what the equivalent is in today's time. 14 million back then might be 100 mil today per week. Per week. We just do the wrong thing with our money. We giving $14 million per week of our money to the Baptist Church, and all we got to show for that is hope. Hope. That's it. That's all we got. What do we got to show for that? You go to the Baptist Church for your entire life, and you donating all your money, and everybody in the congregation donating all their money to this church. At the end of the day, at the end of your life, what do you have to show for it? When you pass, right? When you pass, can you pass down this $14 million per week to your children? No. Your children can just continue to go to this church and give their money to this church. So what do we have to show for it? What do we have to show for it? If we giving $14 million to a church, to anything per week, we should have something to show for it other than a mega church, other than our pastor rolling around in a Benz or Mercedes, whatever car he chooses to drive. This ain't making any sense. Then you look at the congregation, and you got a lot of people in this congregation living in poverty. Please make that make any sense. But 14 million per week. Listen, black people collectively make more than enough money. We just distribute our dollars in the wrong places. We distribute our dollars to where it doesn't benefit us. We giving all our money to these churches, and what are they doing with the funds? Where did that 14 million per week, where did it go? Where did it go? Somebody let me know. And then in this book, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, this book was written years ago. They say the black church as a whole collects between $2 to $3 billion annually. $2 to $3 billion annually. Come on, man. $2 to $3 billion, man. $2 to $3 billion annually. Like, I don't know about y'all, but this type of stuff upsets me. You know what I'm saying? It upsets me because then at the end of the day, all you supplying these people with is hope. You taking their money and giving them hope. That's it. Taking the money, giving them hope. I'm gonna take their money and I'm gonna sell them some hope. Like, that's literally all that you're doing. When you could literally be taking this money and utilizing to change your entire congregation's lives, man. You can change their whole entire lives with this type of money. With this type of money. If all the Baptist churches came together with this 14 million per week, and we speaking back in these times, if they all came together and say, look, we generating 14 million per week, let's change some things around here. Let's change some things in our community. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I don't know about y'all, man, but 14 million just from one church alone. Just from one church alone, that's more than enough. Kenyatta, 450 billion with a B. They have generated that, more than that. That's the rough estimate. So they generated more than that since 1980. 1980. And somebody tell me what we got to show for it. Thunder, Bobby, peace, what's happening? God is peace, Queen, what's happening? Anthony, peace, what's the word? Yeah, Joel Osteen, Billy Swaggart. Man, you got all these. Listen, you got all these cats. Billy, like Jimmy Swaggart, Osteen. What's the man? Ain't it a white lady that be preaching too? Man, it's a white chick that be preaching too. It's a lot of. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a TD. What's his name? TD Snakes. You know what I'm saying? You got him too. You got him out here. But it's a lot. It's a lot of. It's a lot of. Pick your poison. And it's crazy because even like the Jimmy Swaggarts and the Osteens, so these white, man, it's a lot of black people that be fooling with them. Shane of Peace, what's happening? It's a lot, man. It's a lot of black folks that's caught up in them congregations headed by these white folks. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how we getting pimped. So, and listen, y'all gotta realize something. I see it. This title says black churches. Like this, what y'all gotta understand. The title of this stream says black churches have collected over $450 billion in tithes since 1980. Black churches. You still gotta account for the black people that don't attend predominantly black churches, because that's out here too. Just like I said, you got Jimmy Swaggarts and you got Joel Osteens. They got black people in their congregations. So if we account for all of that, man, we have spent a lot of money. We have put a lot of money into the churches. We have put a lot of money into the churches. Like I said, the Baptist church alone, back in like 1980, 14 million per week. That's the Baptist church. And I'm gonna share this screen so y'all can see this article. Well, one of the articles that I pulled up that can corroborate what it is that I'm saying, that can corroborate the actual title of the stream. So let me go ahead and share this screen and go over this article real quick. Like real quick. So y'all can see it. Y'all know I like to bring the evidence to the table here. So okay, y'all can see me. We're gonna go to this article right here. I ain't gonna read this entire article, but y'all see the title. You know what I'm saying? Black economics. Y'all see the website, the domain name, all that good stuff. Black churches have collected $800 billion in 10 years. It's the name of it, man. It's the name. That's the name, the headline, the title of this article. Like crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Black churches have collected $800 billion in 10 years. Question mark. Crazy. Now, let me read part of this article. In the USA, Live Steve's research shows that black churches in aggregate have collected more than $450 billion in tithes and donations since 1980. With a Senate investigation into the finances of several megachurches underway, the prosperity movement has been the target of mounting criticism from inside and outside the black church. Specifically, some affluent ministries have drawn the attention and ire of some clergy and lay people alike. Just look at it, man. Researcher Henry E. Felder's study of blacks' donation habits demonstrated per capita spending of $508 per year and $2,009. Another source, Tyler Media Services, estimated that black church revenue approached $17 billion in 2006. One church The Reverend Dollars World Changers reported $69 million in 2006 income. This is one whole church. One church out here. The Reverend Dollars World Changers reported $69 million in 2006 income. One whole church generated 69 million. So again, if you're looking for a get rich quick scheme, start a church. And this is the question right here. Listen, what does the black community have to show for the $350 billion, 50 billion in tax-free dollars? That's the question. What does the black community have to show for the 350 billion in tax-free dollars? What do we have to show for it? Live Steve's investigative series will take a forensic editorial approach to quantifying a return to Black America for the $350 billion in tax-favored donations it has given to the Black church, examining the arguments on both sides of the pulpit, like literally. And they got some good questions. How often and how much do church leaders take advantage of the faith of poor Black people? Very often. We will investigate and identify the churches they are showing a strong return on investment that goes beyond inspiration, hope. And then I just read this one. What does the black community have to show for the $350 billion in tax-free dollars? Expert analysis on what could potentially be done with such a huge amount of money and how it could improve the state of our communities. Why do some church leaders refuse to participate in a grassroots congressional investigation which requested the financial records of several megachurches? So they didn't even want to participate in an investigation that requested the financial records of the megachurches because they already know. They already know that they are here money hungry, greedy, and they corrupt. But let me go back, man. Let me remove that. Get back to the screen. I just want to know, what do we have to show for it collectively? Hey, Thunder, that's definitely the. I'm telling y'all, if y'all want to generate some revenue for real, start a church. $350 billion tax-free money. I want all the church folks. I please want them to speak up here. Please want them to speak up because I really need to know how this is benefiting the community. How this is, listen, not only how is this benefiting the community, but how is this benefiting any God that you worship and serving? How is this benefiting any of that? How is this? How is us donating all of this money benefiting anything? Somebody other than the pastors, the preachers, the deacon board, these individuals who are taking this money and doing what they want to do with it. How is it benefiting this God you serving? How is it benefiting this religion? How is it benefiting the congregation as a whole? Somebody let me know. Somebody let me know. 69, one church making $69 million in a year. I guarantee you half that congregation, or more than half that congregation, probably out here struggling, dealing with all type of mental health conditions, the health all bad. I guarantee you that congregation struggling. Guarantee you $69 million, man. Come on, man. Come on. That's your answer right there. And they have been talking about this for a very long time. The potential power of the black church. The potential power of the black church. The black church has a lot of potential power, but it is never utilized correctly. Why? Because what people don't understand is a lot of these churches, a lot of these so-called black churches, they have relationships with these white folks. The book I got, the religious instructions of the Negro, goes into that. They gave some of these black folk, they gave us these churches, but they gave us these churches with instructions. So they gave us these churches, and then they picked the people that they wanted to be pastors of these churches, and they gave them instructions. Part of the instructions was to get a certain amount of money from your congregation. Best believe it. Get the book, The Religious Instruction of the Negro in the United States, I believe. Get that book. It literally talks about the instructions given to these churches, the black churches, in regards to what they are to tell their congregation. Come on now. And this is still impacting us in 2021. Think it's a game. Please get that book. Read that book, analyze that book, and you're going to see that it came with a whole list of instructions. We're going to give y'all these churches, but this is what y'all must teach your congregation. This is what y'all must take from your congregation. And this is what you must tell them in return. This is not made up stuff here. This is not made up stuff. We got religious instructions. Say, all right, we're going to give y'all this church. We're going to give y'all these churches, but y'all must follow our instructions. So best believe it ain't just black people benefiting from this 450 billion. They got to break off something to these white folks because that's part of the instructions. But it's called the unseen hand for a reason. The unseen hand for a reason. They're not going to let you know they have any involvement. Well, best believe your pastor, your black pastor, cutting deals with these white folks behind the scenes because he has to. He has to. Terenzo for sure. Brandon, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. The church could have a lot of potential, but it doesn't, like, seriously. It really doesn't do anything. Like, all of these people, all of these black folks that be attending these churches, like, what is really happening? Man, you know how many black people attend church? If we listen, when we talk about coming together and uniting, I feel like that's one of the places where we come together and unite the most. But what is happening? Back in the day, that used to be our safe space. When they came and was terrorizing our communities, we would go to the churches. Hence, when you go down south, that's why going to church is such a popular thing. Because that was the thing. That was your safe space. To get away from these white folks, you go to the church. But what do we have to show for that? We doing all this uniting on Sundays. We doing all this meeting up on Wednesday for Bible stuff. But what is happening? That's a lot of power. You getting all these black people together. We got to do something with that, though, other than selling them hope. Got to do something other than selling them hope, man, and taking their money. It's literally all we doing. Shantae, peace. What's happening? What's happening? Hey, Zion the Don, peace. What's happening? Santana, peace. What's the word? No, that's it. Literally, that's it. All the gossiping goes on in the church. Church is nothing more than an extension of like high school and middle school. Like, it is. Church ain't like, I can't take church seriously these days. You know what I'm saying? I just cannot do it. I cannot do it, man. It is an extension of like middle school and high school and people having crushes on the pastor. Things like pastor sleeping with half the kind. It be the same type of stuff going on, man. That's all that be going on in these churches for the most part. Just a lot of nonsense like you was back in high school and middle school. And outside of the church, listen, outside of the church, all like when you got the conscious community here on YouTube, they just emulated the church. They just took it, labeled it the conscious community, and just was doing the same thing that the churches was doing. They was just utilizing the black information. So they was just doing the same thing. They were just getting folks money, talking bad about the church, but then they were doing the same thing that the church is doing. So don't be fooled by them either. They was doing the same exact thing. That pretty much, when I said if you want to generate wealth, start a church, the conscious community was that. They was like, listen, we ain't gonna start a church, but we're gonna start a community where we talking bad about the church. We're gonna do the same thing that church is doing. So we got to stop playing, man. E-Tron, you said the question, will it ever change? We are more asleep today than yesterday. And that's the question of the ages. You would hope that it would change, but if you're looking at everything realistically, every time major events pop off, that's when the truth reveals itself. And you like, man, we got a long way to go. We got a long way to go. For me, It's every 4 years when it's time to select a president. That's when I realized we literally have made no progress. That's when I'm literally annoyed with black people. Literally every year we have something that happens, but that's really the time. That's really the time where I'm like, dang, man, we still on the same type of nonsense. Like we still believing in the same old song and dance. Same old song and dance. So just you being black and wanting to see your people do better, it's like you be having that hope, like, man, it's gonna improve. But it's like when you looking at it objectively and realistically, it's like, nope. Because every time something major pops off, you see the conflict. You see all the black people gravitate towards something that they really should not be gravitating towards in regards to this system. So it's like, nope, we have not made progress. Sadly. Santana, we talking about black churches specifically. Black churches. So we ain't even including the black people that attend mixed churches. We talking about predominantly black churches. I done been there, done that, where you will be at a church in an area where the poverty rate is high, but that collection plate is far from impoverished. So it's like these people living in poverty, they giving their last to this pastor. Whole while they out here struggling. Kenyatta, you say Kenneth Copeland. I'm a tap in. Thunder for sure. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that was going on a lot. And again, this is where I talk to my sisters. Black women got to understand when it comes to scamming the community, my sisters, y'all are the number one target. The black church, who is in the congregation, predominantly, is you all. When the conscious community came out, who did they start pandering to? The black woman is God. Let's get the black woman. We gonna queen this, queen that. We trying to get to the black woman. So the black woman, you are the number one target when it comes to scamming, when it comes to this type of stuff right here, when it comes to manipulating, when it comes to deceiving. Number one target, sisters. Number one target. So y'all got to keep y'all head on the swivel. Don't fall victim to the nonsense out here. Don't fall victim to the nonsense. Yep, hey, I'm telling you, I ain't seen it all. I didn't seen it all. I didn't even listen. Matter of fact, you know what I'm saying? I ain't even gonna lie to you. I didn't been on the reverse of that. Where some, you know what I'm saying? Where some sisters trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to play on you when they know you a conscious brother. Oh, I done seen it on the flip side too. It's crazy. Goddess, exactly. And to your point, Goddess, they some of the most judgmental. They some of the most judgmental. Let me turn this light on, man. They some of the most judgmental. They some of the most judgmental. You know what I'm saying? They are some of the most judgmental. They in the church every Sunday. They didn't live the foul life all the way up until Sunday. And now they in church trying to repent for their so-called sins. And they going to judge everybody. They're some of the most judgmental individuals. But y'all throwing y'all money to these churches ain't got nothing to show for it. Tavine, peace, what's happening? Prodigal son, peace, what's the word? God, that's exactly what they twerking for. They twerk, and then they twerking, not only they twerking for Jesus, but they twerking for the white Jesus. Tavine, exactly. Definitely manipulating emotions. And that's why they target women. The target market is the women. Because you got to understand, look, think about it, man. Think about the psychology of it. Just think about it. I want y'all to think about this deeply for a second. All the criticism that the black man gets. And what's the talk of the town? We deadbeats, X, Y, and Z. All these single mothers out here. So what better target market? If I feel like the world is filled with all these black single mothers, if I get the single mother, then by default I'm gonna get the kids. By default, I'm gonna get the kids. So if I get the single mothers to come to my church, she gonna bring all 3 or 4 of her kids. So all I got to do is get the single mother, and she bringing the kids. That's what they doing. They not gonna listen. It's gonna be hard pressed to find a congregation that's predominantly all men. What you gonna find is the men. They gonna be the deacon board. They gonna be the one. They gonna be the ones benefiting from it. But they not gonna be in the congregations in large numbers. You ain't finna keep pulling that trick knowledge on us for the most part. Now, again, we got exceptions to the rule. But a man eventually gonna be like, hold up. Man, I ain't finna, even if I believe in the religion, I'm not finna go to church every Sunday. I ain't finna give him my money. Listen, I got a whole pops, like he subscribed to the religion, but he ain't about to go to church. He ain't about to go to church. He ain't about to go to church every Sunday. He ain't about to go to Bible study on Wednesday. He gonna believe in that religion from the crib. And he gonna go to work when he need to go to work. He ain't worried about the church. That's what a man gonna eventually do. Man, you're like, man, I'm not finna be doing that. I ain't about to be around as hooping and hollering. Like eventually, that's gonna get old with most of us. Let alone questioning the logic behind all of that. So y'all gotta think about it, man. I'm gonna target single mothers, and they gonna bring the kids. That's what's happening. And then that's when you get all of these single. I want a God-fearing man and whoop-de-whoop. When most of our most of the bro, we on some other type of time. We ain't trying to entertain this church. We black men in the wilderness of North America, man. We trying to earn a living out here, and we being heavily discriminated against, assassinated, and killed. We worried about real life out here. We ain't trying to go to these churches every Sunday. We ain't worried about none of that. We don't want to hear this pastor preach a lot of this hope out here. When as soon as we walk outside, we liable to lose our lives if a cop having a bad day. Man, we ain't got time to be hearing that. You know what I'm saying? We really don't have time to hear that, man. We got to work too hard to earn a decent living. We going around hearing that hope, seeing people fall out for no reason. Nobody got time for that. Like, we ain't got time for that for the most part, man. Prodigal son for sure. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I have a lot of problems. And my problem is deeply rooted when it comes to the church, let alone all of this money that could change the game. All of this money that can change the game, man. That's a lot of money collectively that could change the game for black folks, but it's not, they ain't doing anything, they ain't changed no game. But on top of that, you got the manipulation, you got the deception, you got all of that that's going on, man. It's just wicked out here, man. And that's coming from a way of life or a belief system that's not supposed to be about that. Prodigal son for sure. They ain't following it at all. Half of them have never even read it and don't even intend to read it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Man, that's what I'm saying. That's why I be trying to look out for myself. That's why when I see a sister caught up in religion, I'm like, my first thought is they got you. They got you. That's like my first, man. They got you. Because if they get if they get the woman, it's like when we go back to the slave days when they was out here assassinating the father. If they get the woman, they gonna get the kids. I don't even care what relationship you listen. I really honestly don't care about the like if the father is in the life. Like if the father is in their lives, it don't even matter. If they get the woman, they gonna get the children. Like them children gonna want to go to church with their mom. I don't even care if they love the pops. Mommy going to church, we gonna go to church. We want to go with mommy. Like if they get the woman, they gonna get the kids. Unless the woman is not in their lives. Like if they get the woman, they gonna get the kids. This is gonna happen. Mama is going to convince them to go to church. Like mama gonna make them go to church. That's what's gonna happen. When it came to me back in the day going to church, It was because it was my mom's or my grandmother. It was the women in the family. It wasn't no man in my family like, man, you need to be going to church. It was the women. It was the grandmother. It was the aunt. It was your moms. That's who's making you go to church. That's who getting on your head if you don't go to church. It's the women in the family. Man, I ain't never had I ain't never had a man in my family get on my head because I ain't want to go to church. It was the boy, you better go to church. It was the women. That's the women. If your uncle found out you skipped out on church, he ain't even mad at you. He ain't mad at you. If your pops found out you skipped out on church, man, he ain't mad at you, but he let your moms find out, let your grandmother find out, let your aunt find out. Oh, it is a problem. Oh, so you ain't going to church? Man, you liable to get a whooping. Well, whereas your uncle, like, all right, man, whatever. I did that too when I was your age. Fear is definitely a powerful tool when it comes to manipulation. Fear is powerful. Hey, Tupac says something along the lines of fear being stronger than love, man, and he has a very good argument. He had a very good argument. Instilled that fear. But like I said, you know what I'm saying? That was that, like your granny, your mom, your aunt, your sister, whoever. That was the one that made sure you went to church. You could cry, you could do all that. Nope, you going to church if it's up to the women in your family at that time, and still to this day. So that's why they say we gonna get these women. Cause you get the man. Hey, if this hey man, he don't want to go to church day. Shoot, I don't either. So we ain't going. Man, dude, we gonna want to sit back. It's Sunday. We gonna want to watch football. So like we gonna do everything. We don't want to go to church. And I'm just keeping it real. Just keeping it real. So let's target these women. Let's target these women. Prodigal son, exactly. And the crazy thing about like my pops, it wasn't that he did not go to church because he was not religious. He just did not go to church. You know what I'm saying? Like he just did not go to church. Like he believed in whatever they was believing in. He just did not go to church. He just did not go. He still to this day is not going to church. If somebody gonna go to church, it's gonna be my mom, it's gonna be my sister. My pops ain't going. I'm not going. My brother ain't going. We not going. It's just not happening. So when somebody goes to church, it's gonna be my sister and my mom. Right now to this day, y'all know I ain't going. But my pops ain't going. My brother ain't going. We ain't going. Savine, exactly, and that's why I said it don't even matter the relationship. If you get the woman, you got the kids. You know what I'm saying? So if we target the women, we gonna get the kids. As long as that kid have any type of decent relationship with the moms, we get the moms, we got the kids. We got the kids. We got the kids. We're gonna get this mom, she gonna bring the kids. Yep, prodigal son, same here. Like when I went to church here I'm going with my moms. Back in the day, of course, when I was down south, I mean everybody down there went to church, but it was more so enforced by the women. Thunder Square, I done seen that, the guilt tripping. You know what I'm saying? They feel bad that they wasn't in church. Coming up with all type of reasons as to why. Like real apologetic about missing church. And all they had to do was go to work. So they literally had to go to work to earn some income to take care of their kids. And they out here being apologetic about missing church because they had to work. And ain't nobody I don't owe you no explanation. I just wasn't there. Like literally. See, that's what I'm saying. See, here we go. Just speaking off of experience, y'all are corroborating exactly what I said. The man we ain't really caring. Even if we believe in it, we still not caring at the end of the day. Like we like, man, listen, we know at the end of the day, it really don't matter. Like that church, all that stuff. We know at the end of the day, it really ain't that serious. Like that's what we know deep down. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna fight against the one. Like if we believe in it, but we don't care about the church. You know what I'm saying? And the woman that we with, she care to go. We not gonna fight with her. But at the end of the day, when them kids start saying, man, they don't want to go to church, we understand that. We like, man, you don't really need to go. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't gonna fight with them though. If we believe in it. Now, if you don't believe in it, that's a totally different ball game. And God is shit, man. Hey, listen. And that's one thing I would say about the men too. When they do go to the church, boy, they dress sharp. I'm gonna give them that. When they do go when the men go to church, boy, we do be sharp. You know what I'm saying? We do be sharp. Savon, for sure. And even when you read these Bibles, it lets you know that the temple is within. You know what I'm saying? So it lets you know. It lets you know. Like when you study these they wasn't out here teaching in churches, preaching in churches. They was out in the streets with the people. That's what they was doing. I like to see TD Snakes go out here with the people and teach the people, preach to the people, not in these mega churches. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. At some point, we got to deal with these black churches. At some point, these black churches have to be dealt with and they have to be held accountable. Hence why I always bring them up. When are we going to start holding these black churches accountable? Since they want to look at us and say, since they want to look at the people who don't believe in all of that as wicked, as heathens, and they want to label us as part of the problem, then at what point are we going to hold them accountable? At what point are we going to hold them accountable? If y'all got the nerve to sit here and criticize us and say how problematic we are because we not subscribing to whatever it is that you subscribing to, well, what are y'all doing? $450 billion since 1980. And what did that do? But y'all want to accuse us of the problems in today's society, though. This has literally been stated by enough people around me that society is literally lost their religion. And this is why society is so wicked and crazy these days. So if you about to sit here and you about to blame us on that, you about to blame the folks that may not believe in your religion, and you about to say that's the reason why society is wicked, you got a lot of explaining to do historically speaking in regards to the wickedness that has occurred under the name of all of these religions. So you're not about to say that the reason why the world is the way that it is today is because people have lost their religion. So what you're not gonna do. That's what we not gonna do that. But that's what they do. So if we gonna do that, if they have the right to criticize us and say, oh, we the problems of society today because we not out here believing in some of these religions, then we can pose all of these questions to them. What is believing in these religions doing for black people? Because I'm seeing a lot of wicked people coming right up into the church and walk right up out of the church. I see a lot of these people committing some heinous acts, walk right into the church, walk right up out of the church. So somebody give me some answers now. Somebody give me some answers. You know what I'm saying? Give me some answers. Back in the day, some of your ancestors were killed because they didn't want to subscribe to Christianity. This is how you was a heathen. That was one of the reasons why you were killed. That was one of the reasons why a black man would get killed, because he didn't want to drop his original culture and subscribe to their culture. Killed. And this even preceded that. As I always talk about holy wars. Oh, you don't want to convert over to this? Kill them. You don't want to convert over to the Catholic Church? You're dead. So please stop acting like if we all subscribe to one, everything would be righteous and right and exact. History done already showed you that will not happen. History already showed you that it'll be a war on beliefs. You don't believe in my God, so therefore you a heathen, you must die. History done already showed y'all that ain't gonna save the world, man. History done already showed y'all. We can all believe in a God, literally. People are literally all believing in a higher power, just using a different name, and we can't even see that. We're gonna kill each other off of that. Oh, you calling your God this, and I call my God that. I'm killing you. Y'all believing in a higher power using a different name, and we still so stupid as a population. We gonna kill each other over that. Come on, how stupid is that? We believe in a higher power. We agree that it's a higher power, but since you use this name and I use this name, I gotta kill you because the name is different. How stupid does that sound? How stupid does that sound, man? How stupid is that, man? How stupid does that sound? When you start studying, it's like, oh, dang, your guys sound very similar to mine. And then you start studying all these people that resemble Jesus, even preceding Jesus when you got Horus. And you start reading their stories like, dang, this sounds similar to this Jesus that I'm worshiping. They got the same exact story. So why am I killing you again? That's the same story. Sound like that came from this. Got the same exact story. Just a different name, literally. You know how many figures have the same exact story as Jesus? It is a lot of them. Krishna, Horus, for example. I forgot the name of the Mexican one, man. I don't even want to misquote it. But literally, almost every group or culture that has created a religion has a figure where the story resembles Jesus. I would say Horus, though. So again, please stop with the nonsense, making it seem like brothers and sisters out here heathens and we the problem of today's society. Come on now. Stop all of that. And then when you trace it back, you get to the sun, you get to the solar system. You get to the solar system, you get to the sun, which everything pretty much is a reflection of that. Everything is pretty much a reflection of that. Thunder Scorpion, 100%, definitely not a viable source. Definitely not one. Definitely not one. But again, y'all see why I have a lot of problems with the black church. Y'all see why I have a lot of problems with religion. And from time to time, I have to address these things because most of the time I get addressed in a negative, way from religious folks. And that's what activates these thoughts. That's what activates these thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's why I say this subject matter ruffles feathers. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at it objectively, that's what I had to do. I was a part of some of the same churches that most people was a part of, black people, the Baptist church. And I had to take an honest look at the church. I had to take an honest look at all of this stuff. And I was like, yo, hold up. Like, what's happening out here, man? Like, what's the real truth out here? And once I started seeking the truth, searching for the truth, I had to leave that church, man. I had to leave it. I had to leave it. I had to leave it for sure. You know what I'm saying? So again, and I've talked about this struggle a few times. I have mentioned this struggle a few times. I mentioned this struggle a few times in regards to not being religious as a black person. Gloria Miller, you say, why don't you get a job to support yourself instead of begging working people to support you? I have a whole gym, and I'm a whole personal trainer. So again, the people can see the work that I'm doing, Gloria Miller, if that was intended for me. The people can see the work that I'm doing. So again, I'm not selling you hope. People see that if something comes my way, I'm going to do something for the community because I have a whole gym and I'm a whole trainer. I got 25 plus clients and I'm the only one in the gym that does the work. So I do this all by myself, and I train predominantly Black women such as yourself, and I'm helping them get their health in order. So I'm not begging anybody. I'm not begging anybody. When somebody makes any type of donation my way, they see where everything is going. They see the work that I'm putting in. So I'm not pimping anybody. I'm not scamming anybody. I'm putting in work for the community, and people see it. I risk a lot I risk a lot by walking away from corporate America to do my own thing so that people can see a better example of a Black man being fearless. So miss me with that begging, man. I walked away from these white folks. I walked away from corporate America, and I opened up my own gym in the middle of a pandemic. And you think I'm begging out here? That don't sound like begging to me. That don't sound like begging to me. So you come correct when you talking to me. You know what I'm saying? You come correct when you talking to this Black man. What we not going to do is do the disrespect, because that's the last thing we doing is begging. You know what I'm saying? I risk a lot. I said, to hell with these white folks. I'm the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth. And I started a gym in the middle of the pandemic when people told me that wasn't a smart thing to do. And I'm still open. And I'm getting supported by my people. So people see where all my work is going. People see where my money is going. Matter of fact, if you need to get in shape, you can hit me up when you get to St. Louis, and I got a slot for you if you want to see it. I post frequently on my Facebook and Instagram about the work that I do in my gym, about the people that I train. You know what I'm saying? So no, we're not doing none of that nonsense, man. So again, don't take anything on face value. So what we don't do is we don't tolerate disrespect, and we're going to check all disrespect. We're going to check all disrespect. I'm not nowhere near these churches. I'm not an Umar Johnson. If I say that I'm going to take money and I'm going to do something, you're going to see it being done because I already did it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need. We need more honest people instead of people selling them hope. I ain't sold no brother hope. I didn't went and did something so these brothers can see. Man, this Black man, he walked away from his job, man, and he's staying true to himself. He's staying righteous. And look what he did. And he earning a living for himself. Come on now. Stop playing with the kid around here. We're not going to do that. Job child for sure. You know what I'm saying? Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Yeah, we ain't gonna even do that. You know what I'm saying? That's the last thing. The last thing people want to do is go there with me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't, I don't know if y'all have seen me, but y'all have not seen me in that stage to where somebody comes at me incorrectly and we go off. You know what I'm saying? We don't play those games. We don't play those games because that's just, we don't play those games, man. We show and prove. You know what I'm saying? We show and prove around here. Like I said, people have seen my work. It ain't no begging, man. I got 3 or 4 books. I got clothes, like I got apparel. I got gyms. I got immune boosting powder. Like, listen, I got plenty of things that people can support, that people can purchase. I'm not out here just selling people hope. I can give you a book that'll change the game. I can give you 3 or 4 books that I've written that can change the game for you. You can come to St. Louis and work out with me. Matter of fact, you can hit me up online and I can give you an online program that will help you out. So come on, man. Yeah, we gonna go in. We gonna go in on that. We gonna go in on that. Yeah, we gonna go in on that. You know what I'm saying? That's the, you know what I'm saying? That's the nonsense we talking about. People taking things off face value, which is what we don't do. It's what we don't do. That's what we don't do. Oh, Marcus G, for sure. We ain't worried about it, man, because again, y'all see how the brother builds, man. We gonna let those people have it. You know what I'm saying? We let those people have it because simply, and I told y'all this is how you gotta get down like this when it comes to certain things. You know what I'm saying? When there's certain things you stand for and people come at you incorrectly about them, you gotta let people know that this ain't that. You know what I'm saying? So with certain things, when I'm talking about it and somebody says the wrong thing, that's how they gonna get checked, whether it's online, whether it's in person. You know what I'm saying? We not gonna roll like that. We gonna politely give that person some information. You see, I ain't have to call nobody out their name. You see I don't have to call anybody out their name. I don't have to use any foul language. And we still gonna get the point across. You know what I'm saying? That's how we gonna do it. That's how we gonna do it. Did I call that sister out of name? No. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing nobody can ever accuse me of, even when they come at me incorrectly. I don't rock like that. I may come with some passion and energy, but I ain't gonna get disrespectful. I'm gonna always keep that level of respect. And it's crazy because she straight got my mom's name. So that's what's messed up about that. You know what I'm saying? That's what's messed up about the whole situation. She got my mom's name. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, what I was talking about before we was rudely interrupted was just how difficult uh how difficult it is being non-religious in a black household. I talk about that all the time. And it's difficult. Now it's very difficult because the assumption 9.9 times out of 10 amongst your peers, amongst your family and friends, the notion is that you are religious as a black person. So when you are not one of them ones, it's like it makes it harder to kind of navigate through life and deal with your people. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't really want to disrespect the way of life of another person, but when they like consistently are trying to like force it on you, then you feel like you got to kind of let them know that, hey, this is not like my way of life. This is not what I subscribe to. You know what I'm saying? I fool with where you coming from, but that's just not my way of life. At some point, you got to have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? And that sometimes becomes a rough conversation to have because, again, when you try to have that conversation with the average black person, they start looking down on you once they find out you are not religious. It's a very select few people that can find out that you're not religious, and they are, and they don't look down on you. Like they not judging you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a select few. And that's been my experience. Somebody else could have a different experience. But I feel like when I start making the knowledge born, when I let people know, like black folks know that, like, nah, like I'm not really religious. I don't subscribe to that. I don't believe in X, Y, and Z. They look down on me. It's like they look at me like I need to be saved. I need to be converted and brought back to the light. That's how they start looking at me. And it's like, dude, just because I don't believe in what you believe in don't mean I need to be brought back to some light. Don't mean I'm in the dark. I don't necessarily like that. You know what I'm saying? Like like it's hard for you to respect me when you feel like I'm in the dark and I need to be brought back to this light, some light, and I'm living this heathenistic way of life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no. Crown for sure. And like I said, man, it is, I don't want to say no disrespect intended to the religious folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, because for real, sometimes disrespect is intended because I feel like a lot of times they disrespect me. So if I'm talking to somebody directly and they keep disrespecting me, then disrespect is intended because you get what you give. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I'm literally just trying to or striving to provide another perspective because I feel like we are intimately connected to religion, and I feel like it should have, by at this point, we should have reached a certain level by being this committed and dedicated to these religions. And instead of us like elevating, it's like it brings us down. It sets us back. So, you know what I'm saying? It's hard. It's hard to have these honest conversations. And I feel like this is because I feel like in order for us, a lot of us to work together, we got to learn to accept the diversity of beliefs, knowledge, like all of that type of stuff. A lot of times that doesn't happen. I'm not gonna lie, back in my day, I was way more vicious with my information. I was way more vicious with coming at religion. Now I got like it's more respectful. More respectful. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to have these conversations with religious folks, at least the ones that are willing to listen, and we able to chop it up. And I may introduce some things that they may not be hip to. They may introduce some things that I may not be hip to in regards to, like, I'm always open. I know deep down in my heart, like, religion, that's not my way of life, but I'm always open to a person that is religious in regards to perspective, because I'm always looking for the best part. I'm always looking for something that I can apply to my life that will help improve it. Now, I know I will never go back to being a religious person. Like, you know what I'm saying? I will never go back to that, but I don't have no ill will towards a religious person. It's only when the person will not listen. And I feel like that's anybody, because I just mentioned like 30, 40 minutes ago, I talked about the conscious community and how a lot of them are con artists. So I don't necessarily get down with a lot of them. So people just make an assumption that, oh, if they coming with it, if they talking about they not religious, they spiritual, they think I fool with that crowd or something. I don't fool with a lot of them too. I fool with the people that respect me. I fool with the people that are willing to listen to what it is that I have to say, just like I'm willing to listen and read what it is they have to offer and say. I got plenty of books right here in front of me that are very religious that I have read. I have books that are non-religious in front of me and behind me that I have read. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very open. I got a Quran over here somewhere. I got a Bible, few Bibles behind me. Didn't read these Bibles. I didn't read Old Testament, New Testament. Had to go to school for it. Had passed tests on these joints. I didn't read like half of the Quran. Haven't read the entire Quran. But I have a, like, in regards to the Bible, I feel like I'm not, I don't want to say well versed, but I did the knowledge quite well and thoroughly to the actual Bible because I had to. Not only in high school, after high school, I went to a Catholic college. Once again, had to take more theology classes. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I deal with the respect, because I didn't deal with people that say, oh, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, and they just as egotistical. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just as bad. And I don't even want to say the religious people are bad, but they are terrible. Some of them, some of those individuals. You can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them anything. You can't have a conversation with them to save your life. Just like you got some of these conscious brothers and conscious sisters. You can't tell them anything. Can't have a discussion. They think they know everything. So we got problems everywhere across the board. And I mentioned that. But a lot of times people miss when I mention that. Why you just focus? I didn't already mention. Reason why we focus on religion today, because we seeing how much money the black churches have collected collectively. And we trying to see what's up with that. And I also said earlier in the video that this don't apply to all churches. I have seen some churches, small churches, do some good in the community. I've seen it. But collectively, I feel like the black church has a lot of economic potential for black people, and it's not being utilized properly. And partially because instructions were given. And the book I mentioned, The Religious Instruction of the Negro in the United States of America, instructions were given to him. Magic, peace, what's happening? Marcus G for sure. And like I said, I got plenty of pastors, ministers, plenty of people like that I rock with, that I can have conversations with, honest conversation. We listening to one another. It's a respectful conversation, a respectful dialogue. I can dig that. I can always dig that. I'm always open to that. But for the most part on my end, because I would like literally, I'm one of the ones, I will be minding my business, right? And it seemed like that stuff will always come to me. Somebody might see a book that I got. I ain't pushing this book on you. I just got the book posted up in my gym or something. Somebody will see the book and it'll lead to a whole conversation. Like, dude, I ain't asked you about this book. I just got this book in here because it's what I'm reading in my downtime. And that book can trigger something. And now you trying to force your beliefs on me. All I did was have a book. I ain't say that I believed what was in the book. I'm just reading it. So you don't know my intentions behind reading the actual book. So I done had situations like that. Or I just literally be minding my business and this conversation to come up and people to make assumptions. And then when I kind of correct them, or not even correct, I might correct them, or I might just let them know that, hey, I don't do that, or I don't subscribe to that. Then it's like, ooh, they got to look at me in a negative light. CC for sure. Prodigal son, most definitely. Antonio, man, one thing about the trolls, people don't really be wanting that smoke. Like at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, people don't really be wanting that smoke. People talk, people do all the trolling, and that's exactly why they are trolls. Because they in real life, they don't want the smoke. So they troll. You know what I'm saying? But people don't really be wanting smoke, man. People don't really be wanting to have these conversations. I ain't afraid to have any conversation with somebody that got something funny to say, got something goofy to say. They could give some of this energy, man. They can get some of this energy for sure. Your son, man, 100%, 100% right and exact. 100% right and exact. Like I said, man, if anything, people just troll, like I said, but they don't say what you saying is incorrect. They not saying that. They just control. That's all they can do is troll. When your information is strong, when what you saying is strong, all they can do is troll. You know what I'm saying? They can't say, it's incorrect. Like that's what a respectable person would do. They would say, hey, something you said was incorrect. Here's the truth. Or here's, according to my studies, this is what I found out. Nah, people gonna troll. They gonna start saying goofy things, man. Like that's the word. We call them goofy around here. You know what I'm saying? They gonna start saying goofy things. Bunch of goofballs, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's the nonsense. We don't deal with all of that. We don't deal with all that. We check them and we move on. But you gonna get checked though. You gonna feel this energy initially. You know what I'm saying? You gonna feel what we call feel the wrath. You gonna feel the wrath initially. You must feel that. You know what I'm saying? You gonna feel it. Oh yeah, Montel, for sure. Yeah, diversity is definitely a beautiful thing, but it's hard. Like you know what I'm saying, it's hard to embrace the diversity when everybody think you wicked. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to embrace diversity when they done told you that you wicked for not believing in certain things. So it's hard to embrace that diversity. Yeah, goddess. Yeah, most definitely. Silly rabbits. You know what I'm saying? Tricks up for kids for sure. For sure. Like I said, people be thinking that it's a game out here. Like I said, we really dedicating our lives to the research. You know what I'm saying? Like this topic, this subject matter, Amos Wilson blueprint for Black Power. Like we reading books in relation to this subject matter. You know what I'm saying? We researching, we studying, we pulling up articles, we pulling up peer-reviewed articles. You know what I'm saying? So we got legitimate questions and concerns, things that need to be dealt with. We ain't just got, you know what I'm saying? These books behind me ain't just for show. A lot of these books behind me have been read. You know what I'm saying? So this stuff ain't for show. Like we legitimately have concerns. Some of us are legitimately dedicated to at least attempt to change the condition for Black people. And we gonna go deep into the trenches in regards to studying to see what we can do. I read this, listen, again, Blueprint to Black Power. This is an 800+ page book that I read with that in mind. Amos Wilson, brother on the back right there. Amos Wilson. There is no, like, I read this 800 page, like I dedicate, you know how long it took for me to read this book. I'm reading this book solely with Black people in mind. I'm not reading this book with myself in mind. I'm reading this book with black people in mind. Like, I think black people need this information. So I'm going to dedicate my time to read an 800 plus page book. How many other people are going to do that? Man, it took me probably about 2-3 months to read this entire book. The time in which I read it. It took me months to read this entire book. Could have easily been like, man, I'm not reading this. Black people don't want to hear this. This book, man, I got highlights all throughout this book. Highlights all throughout this book, literally. From the first page to page 850, 856, I got highlights all throughout this book. All throughout this book, man. Some of us are really out here researching. Some of us are really out here trying to solve problems for the black community. And we ain't just out here trying to place the blame game. We trying to listen. We trying to get answers from some of these communities. You know what I'm saying? And we feel like some of these communities could be doing more. Some of these organizations can be doing more. We calling them out. We calling them out. We want answers. And y'all to see me. People didn't ask me questions on my stream. And I answer them to the best of my abilities. So that's all we trying to do. If you part of the black church, answer questions. Just like if somebody got questions for me in regards to something they feel like I'm well versed in, I try to answer that to the best of my ability. I've never ran away from a question. I done had plenty of questions, especially early on when I was streaming, when I would talk about my culture, when I would talk about veganism. I done had people ask me questions live on stream in regards to things that I subscribe to and my way of life, and I try to my best to answer. I ain't never ran from a question. Never. But we can't say that for a lot of these other organizations and a lot of these other people. They running from questions. They're running from. You ask me something, I'm gonna try to answer. If I don't have an answer for it, I'm gonna tell you I don't know. Or if I may have forgot the answer, like if I see a question and I'm like, dang, I know I read this, but I'm gonna try to find a book or something along those lines. But if I got an answer for you, I'm gonna give it to you. So I ain't running from it. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody got answers my way, if somebody got questions my way, I got answers. But we can't say that for all these other communities, man. We can't say that for all these other organizations in these communities. They don't want it. They feel like they too big to be answering some of these questions out here. But we got a lot of questions. If anybody, I got questions. I don't know about y'all, but I got questions. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the Black Church, whether it's the Urban League, the NAACP, all of these little organizations, I got questions. Some of them I already know the answers to. I just want some of these other people that's in these organizations to answer the questions that I may have. But we got questions, man, that have not been answered by these organizations, by these groups of people. But when it comes to when I start talking, then they need all these answers from me. And I'm gonna give it to you. But it's funny that you have all these questions for me. You want to make sure I'm right and exact. But then when I ask the questions, nobody wants to answer. Nobody wants to answer. Nobody. Thunder Scorpion for sure got a stronghold on the black community, and they're gonna always have a stronghold on the black community. I don't think there is ever going to be a time period in our lifetime, where the church doesn't have a stronghold on the black community. I don't think it'll ever be a time. Whether it's the church, whether it's the mosque, some gonna always have a stronghold on the black community, and it's gonna revolve around religious beliefs or spirituality, whatever you want to refer to it as. It's gonna always have a stronghold on our people. God is for sure. It's a crime to ask questions. Not only is it a crime to ask, but just think about it. We conditioned in the church to not ask questions, and we also conditioned in school not to ask questions. When you think about it, when you were young, but like you not as a student, you're not supposed to really be questioning the teacher. You could be right and exact with your questioning, but nah, you the student need to shut up and listen. So we taught to not ask questions in the school system and the church. Questions are forbidden. You better not ask that. You better quit questioning that teacher. You better shut up and listen. Better just shut up and listen. So we are not encouraged to ask questions in the schools or the church. Just think about it. Am I lying on that? Are we encouraged to ask questions in the school? Were we encouraged to ask questions in school? And when I say questions, I'm talking about questioning the teacher in regards to something that they said. Not, I don't understand this problem. Can you help me question? No, the teacher telling you something and then you don't feel like it's right based off of something you was taught at home and you questioning what it is that they taught you. And you want an answer in regards to something that you feel like is right that they not teaching. Like, nope, you better not ask this. If they teaching you about Christopher Columbus discovering America and you raise that black child raised their hand like, my daddy said Christopher Columbus did not discover America. People was already here. Nope. You shouldn't have did that. Shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have did that. That child might get kicked out of the class. Disruptive behavior. That's the type of stuff that we dealing with. There's disruptive behavior. You should not be quite. Don't do that. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Didn't George Washington own some slaves? Kicked them out the class. Kick them out the class. All right, y'all, we're gonna learn about the Pythagorean theorem. Didn't Pythagoras travel to Egypt to learn this theory? And wasn't Egypt back then filled with people that look like me? Kick them out the class. Kick them out the class. Gotta go. Disruptive behavior. They challenging authority. They being disrespectful. Man, for sure. For sure. I had to put that on the screen. For sure. And that's even outside of the Bible. That's one of the problems that I have with the Nation of Islam. That's one of the messenger. Once people start giving themselves these names, disconnect. I'm like, that's right. That right there is pimping. I'm the messenger. You know what I'm saying? Listen, in order for you to reach where you want to reach, like you got to go through me to reach this most high, because I'm the messenger. Like, come on, fam. Like, I'm like, that's just, we can't do that. What's making you more special than me? So when people start, I'm the messenger, and they start holier than thou, and if anybody tries to take away from their light, they gotta assassinate them. Man, I don't have no parts of anything along those lines. Anything along those lines. Anytime you have a situation where I gotta act like one man and everything he says is right and exact, and this man ain't no different than me, this man bleeds just like I bleed, I'm not fooling with it. I'm sorry. That's just the way I roll. That's the way I roll. I'm not finna refer to, like, it's just not happening. Bleed just like I bleed, man. Just like you got this knowledge, I get this knowledge. Like, I'm not about to be acting like everything you say is to be worshipped and is to be considered right and exact. And I can't question anything that you say. There is no way on this planet that I'm subscribing to anything like that, to where I got to agree 100% with a person or a book. That's not life. That is not life. Jessica, you say, what religion do you practice? We don't necessarily refer to it as a religion. It's more so a culture for us, a way of life, but part of the 5% nation of gods and earths. I have studied bits and pieces of African spirituality, voodoo, hoodoo, whatever you want to refer to it as. You know what I'm saying? I have studied some of those joints. Studied the doggone tribes, man. I didn't study a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Yoruba and things along those lines. The Egyptian mystery says, like, I have studied a lot of that. Man, I mean, I have studied a lot of things. I studied a lot of in regards to philosophy. You know what I'm saying? I have studied a lot of religions, from the mainstream version to the underground version. you know what I'm saying, Sufism, things like that when it comes to Islam, and then Gnostic Christianity. Like I've studied all of that. Buddhism, man. I mean, I didn't study it all. And I still got a lot to study. Still got a lot to study. But as far as my affiliation, as far as like my lifestyle, 5% Nation of Gods and Earths. And that breakdown will be a whole nother video. You know what I'm saying? But if you are familiar with that nation, then you are familiar with some of the teachings and you are familiar with the way of life. Look at that. I got some more comments I want to tap into. My course computer over here freezing, so I can't scroll as of right now. So I gotta wait for this joint to unfreeze, man. I got the little ball rolling on here, man. But I have studied a lot of different religious systems, man, spiritual systems. Like I didn't studied all, man. I didn't studied everything from the chakras to, man. Listen, if you name it, I done probably read something about it and studied it. Like I didn't probably read something about it and studied it when it comes to spirituality, religion, all of that. I done probably read something about it, studied it, and I done been doing it for about 10 plus years. So you name it, I probably know something about it in regards to the basics. Man, I started even the Mayans, man. I started studying their way of life when everybody thought the world was going to end, man. So I was studying all that. So debonair for sure. Jessica, you say what? From you know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. Okay, what you say? You say you used to practice a West African religion. Yeah, yep, prodigal son. I know all about that joint. I know all about that joint. And just you say my opinion on Islam. So it depends on the branch of Islam that you're talking about. From our culture, we have been taught that Islam as a name just means peace. And we break it down as our self-Lord and master. Now, when we start talking about the religions, then that's a whole different ball game. That's a whole different ball game. I was studying Islam way back in the day when I was just looking for a culture that made sense. So I was studying the NOI. I really don't like when they get referred to as the Black Muslims. Really don't kind of like that. I don't like that name. But I was studying them, and I was studying Sufism, and I was studying the Sunnis, studying all of that. And just like anything else, man, it's things that I can take away from it that I can rock with, and it's things that I may have read that I didn't agree with. I actually just read a book, it's like a quick book written by a Muslim. I think he was like a Sunni Muslim. I forgot his affiliation, but it's called Timeless Seeds of Advice. Real good advice, but I mean, it was overly religious because, you know what I'm saying, brother was a Muslim, but it was good advice nonetheless. Because again, I don't even discriminate. If I can get good advice for something, give me that. You know what I'm saying? So I just read a book by a Muslim brother, but it's things that they will subscribe to on a large scale. I am not subscribing to. But that's all walks of life for real. Yeah, better future. That's what I'm referring to as. I mean, that's what I'm referring to. But like I said, man, I didn't been dabbling with a lot. Like I said, I still got plenty of things that I'm a dabble with. And all I can say to people, man, it's a very intriguing journey, man, to just learn about all of these different perspectives, different cultures. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. It's interesting to connect dots. You know, it's interesting to examine the diversity. We didn't always been diverse in regards to things we subscribing to. So it's always fascinating to study these things, man. And I encourage everybody to just study, man. Just study these things. Study philosophy. Study these religions. Study spiritual systems. Study it all. Study it all. That's the only, truly, that's the only way that you can reach a conclusion that makes any sense. That's not blind. The only way that you can reach a conclusion that's not blind in regards to subscribing to something is by studying these things. And that's what I started doing. I'm like, man, I'm not going to subscribe to something if I haven't studied. Like, how can I say my way of life is the right way and all the other way of lives are incorrect when I haven't studied them? When I don't know anything about it? How can I say something is wrong if I don't know anything about it? That never made any sense to me. So I feel like that's ignorant to say, hey, your way of life is wrong, but I don't know anything about your way of life. That's ignorant to me. And I was like, man, I can't live like that. Like, honestly, that didn't make any sense to me. Like, I personally couldn't live like that. Like, I personally couldn't be like, all right, this way, like, all right, the way I'm living is correct. And all y'all, you know what I'm saying, everybody else wrong. Like, that didn't necessarily make any sense to me. So I'm like, let me study all of these other, like, and I still got a lot of stuff to study, but I just started studying the main, you know what I'm saying, philosophies, the main religions, the main spiritual systems that everybody would know about and talk about. But like, let me look into them a little bit. Since this is what people are talking about, let me study these and see if they resonate with me and see if they make any sense to me. Because I can't tell people that they're wrong and I don't even know what they're wrong about. That don't make any sense. So if you tell me my way of life is wrong and incorrect, and you don't know anything about my way of life, then how can you do that? It's like it's like, again, going to nutrition. It's like me telling you the way that you eating is incorrect. And first of all, I don't know your body type. And I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know anything about the other nutritional lifestyles. Like, that makes no sense. So in order for me to say this is the best dietary lifestyle to follow, like, it would only make sense for me to study and experiment with the other lifestyles. That's what science is all about, experimentation. You know what I'm saying? You got like a hypothesis, man. Then you got to test the hypothesis. You know what I'm saying? What is the best diet for Black people? Boom, that's your question. That's your research. Now you're trying to find that answer. Then you come up with, like, what is the best diet for Black people? Then I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna have a guess. Like, all right, I feel the best diet for Black people is the vegan diet. Now we're gonna have to test that. And the way that you test it is you try to prove it to be incorrect. You literally trying to prove it to be incorrect. That is literally science. That's how people come up with these theories. Like Dominique Peace was that. That's literally how science is supposed to work. I think the best diet for Black America is veganism. And it's like, let's test this hypothesis. And the way you trying to test it is you literally trying to find ways for it to be incorrect. That is how you know something stands the test of time. When you trying to prove it to be incorrect, but all the methods that you have utilized to try to prove it to be incorrect have all failed, that's when that theory turns into, like, almost a truth. It's like, man, we have not been able to disprove this theory. Don't mean that it's an absolute truth, because it can eventually be disproved. But as of now, it's not been disproven. That's what science is all about. People don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you're supposed to approach life. All right, man, listen, I got this. Boom, I think this is such and such. Let me try to disprove that. Let me try to disprove it. So a lot of times when I research, when I read, I'm trying to disprove some of the things that I subscribe to. And I just walk into things that confirm it. Even when I read books by the people that's supposed to disprove it, it still confirms it. Jessica, you say, have I tried the Dr. Sebi diet? No, I have not tried it. I don't want to say I probably will, but I don't want to say I don't have a problem. It depends on the person, really. I recommend everybody just experiment when it comes to these diets and these lifestyle changes. I haven't necessarily followed it to a T, but I do take some of the best parts from his lifestyle. Like, I ain't gonna stop eating something like broccoli. You know what I'm saying? And then Elijah Muhammad tell you not to eat kale. Like, I'm not gonna ever get that strict with it, because it's beneficial for me to eat broccoli. Like, I just experiment with my body. The strict as I have gotten is vegan. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm at now. But I haven't followed the Dr. Sebi diet as of yet. May eventually do it. You know what I'm saying? May come a time in my life where I want to see what it's all about, and I just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. But what I'm working up to is like the 80% raw. Like that's what I feel like based on my research. I feel like that is the correct way to live. 80 to 85, probably 90% raw foods. Based on all of my research to this date, I feel like that's the way to live from a dietary standpoint. I feel like that's the most beneficial way to live. Predominantly raw. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm eventually going to aim for in life. So right now I just been doing the vegan thing, you know what I'm saying? And that's been working wonders for me. But I know people who have tried the Dr. Sebi diet and they have had miraculous results. So I do know these people now. I do know some people. By matter of fact, I trained a lady. She's following that style to a T, and she's seeing some positive results and whatnot. So I do have people that I know that are living that lifestyle, but I personally have not. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I gotta tap out, man. I didn't got distracted by a little troll real quick. You know what I'm saying? We had to build on her, had to correct the troll and whatnot. Percy, appreciate the donation. Percy called me right when but I'm gonna answer this question though, because we answer questions. Just checking in. Appreciate the donation, by the way. You study many faiths. My question is, how were you raised, and was it hard to break away? My dad's a preacher, but I have questions on doctrine. Uh, uh, Percy, I was raised in a Baptist household. I think I was baptized. I forgot. I was like 5 or 6. Man, I got baptized early. But Baptist household, most of my family from the South, Mississippi. That's where my parents came. They came to St. Louis from Mississippi, small town. So you know how it is in those small black towns. There ain't nothing to do there but go to church. So we was Baptist. That's how we were raised. And was it hard to break away? Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I'm gonna say no, because I never really was into church like that. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why I was doing it because I had to. So I'm gonna be honest with you. Like honestly, once I started coming into the information that made sense to me, it really didn't take me much to break away because I feel like I never was committed to it. You know what I'm saying? I never was dedicated to that lifestyle because it never really resonated with me. It never really, like, I never felt it. You know what I'm saying? So I just felt like I was always living a lie anyway. You know, so that's just my honest assessment. Like I never really felt connected to that lifestyle. So it really wasn't a problem when it came to breaking away from it. I just didn't know when I broke away from it, I just didn't know where to go. And that was my problem. I was afraid to break away from it totally in regards to just not believing in anything. And that was part of my problem, even though I did reach that point to where I was comfortable with that. But as a youngin', I was like, dang, man, I got to have something. But once I got older, like it was not a problem because I was like, man, I was never really connected to it. You know what I'm saying? I never felt connected to it. And that's just my honest assessment and honest opinion. So it never really was a way of life that I feel like I gravitated towards that did anything for me. So once I came across information that was telling me this, that, and the third, I was like, all right, cool. That's all I needed. I just needed the confirmation. But with that being said, man, I'm gonna go ahead and tap out for the day, man. I had time for this particular build. When I got time, I can build. You know what I'm saying? So time is always a valuable thing, man. So I love having time, man, when I'm able to build instead of being interrupted by the clients and having to train and all that good stuff, man. So this was a good build, good stream. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Appreciate donations. I'm gonna try to tap back in with y'all tomorrow. If not, I'm gonna just see y'all when I see y'all, man. But I'm out, y'all. Be easy. Enjoy the rest of the Friday. Peace.